Hello, everybody, and welcome to another topic of the week. First, of course, as always, preamble. We're going to start out last week's topic, which was Warhammer, YouTubing, and you, which I thought was awesome because it's something that I suspected a lot, and I saw it confirmed a lot in the comments, which was that our as a community, our intake of YouTube is different than perhaps the average YouTube viewer. As one, we're often not watching it. A lot of people confirmed my suspicion of that it's sort of something that's on in the background while you're painting or whatever. And two, that both sort of shorter, bite sized chunks and longer things both have a lot of value. The shorter things, as standard, sort of taking information, a short discussion on something, whatever, and the longer pieces to have something you can put on, have in the background, have something fun going, and not need to really like actively watch it. So to me, that says that there's a lot of value in all of that types of content in our community. And I think that's an amazing luxury. There's a lot of places on YouTube and a lot of communities where if you're gonna do movie reviews, hour and a half, 2 hour movie reviews, it's not always going to get be really as accepted by that community. Most people want it in 5 minute video. Whereas here, you can have a 2 hour discussion on the flesh eater courts or whatever, and that's perfectly good. Which was something that James from Star Mini Gaming did this week. Speaking of James, one of the interesting pieces of feedback that I saw in last week's topic response was a thing about lore and wanting to see more lore videos. I know James from Star Mini Gaming he does a narrative thing. He does a narrative series of videos where he reviews the books, talks through the story, the characters involved, that kind of thing. But I don't think there's a lot of people doing it, especially for Age of Sigmar. And I think there's actually now a lot of lore being put out there that if you don't read the novels and stuff, you really don't see and don't know. So hey, content producers who aren't me, because I'm not going to read. I mean, I never learned to read, so I can't do it. That's why I'm on YouTube. But there could be something in that, so you can join James in the Great Narrative Escapade. It could be like deep dives on particular factions and the lore that's been written about them and the characters that are in the novels on them or whatever. Possible idea there. I'd love to see somebody pick it up. I know I'd watch it because I'd rather watch a video about it, or listen to a video about it at least, than I would read a long novel. As a very famous and wise person once said, ain't nobody got time for that. So, let's turn to this week's topic of the week. And folks, what can we talk about this week? It's got to be Warhammer Quest. That's right. The newest board game coming out here goes on pre-order tomorrow, maybe today, depending on where you are in the world when you're watching this, or right now. And I'm very excited about this. These figures, we talked about it a lot on the show this week. The figs for it just blow my mind. I cannot explain how excited I am to put some paint on these minis. Especially like that barbarian guy that's in there, I think looks amazing. The bird beastmen are something I've wanted for years. I'm so happy to see those. I will literally take... I need to get a lot of those. I need at least a full unit, so there we go. And I'm excited that all these guys are going to have rules in Age of Sigmar as well. It's great stuff. So I think that I'm really excited about it. And so what I want to talk about this week with Warhammer Quest is this release. And there's so many things you could talk about with this. There's, in fact, too many angles to probably attack it from in one video. Are you excited for the product? Do you like the figures? Do you like the direction for some of the models? Like, we might be getting a bit of a faction preview of one of the elvish factions here in the two new elves, the Tenebrius. I don't know. I'm bad at pronunciations. Shard and the Mistweaver Say. I don't know. So I think that's cool. I'd love to see a sort of marauder barbarian kind of group. Maybe just even a unit based on that chieftain. I think that could be really cool. Just unaligned, not like the Khorne guys. Just, generic barbarians could be cool. Maybe even if they weren't necessarily chaos. Maybe if they were both chaos and order because they're in the middle. Whatever. They could be either. All that kind of stuff would be neat. So you excited for the minis? Are you going to pick up the box? And then I think there's other interesting angles here of, did you play the original Warhammer Quest or Hero Quest? Because both of them are somewhat related-ish. They're both in the same family. And I know for me, originally Hero Quest was a huge deal. Hooves of Doom talked a lot about Hero Quest. He has an awesome, awesome deep dive on the original Hero Quest on his channel. If you're a big fan of it, go check it out. I'll link that original Hero Quest video he did. He did a whole series on it, but I'll link the first one down below because it really is. He super deep dives, and it was a great trip down memory lane for me. I never played the first Warhammer Quest, so I'm kind of actually excited to see how this looks, how it plays, stuff like that. I don't know if I'll actually play the board game much or just use the figs. Either way, I'm happy about it. So how are you looking? Or do you think you'll play the game, or are the figs just going to join the rest of your forces, or maybe you're just excited to collect them? All right. So there's lots of different angles to attack from this. I look forward to seeing all the response videos that talk about this. The new sprues, the new models look absolutely great. I think this is a fantastic move forward. I want to see a lot more products like this. This is one of those things that could really get people into the hobby. The funny thing about Hero Quest for me is it was probably the first game like fantasy type game that I played. So when it came out in '89, I got it right away. I remember seeing the commercial, which Google the commercial, it's hilarious. And I remember seeing it and thinking, oh my god, this is the coolest thing in the history of the universe. And I played it a little, and even though it's firmly set in the Warhammer world, you don't realize it at the time, but it is. Like, if you go back and look at it, and Hoops talks about this in his video, it is definitely set in the Warhammer world. It mentions, like, Altdorf and the River Reich and stuff, and all these things, whatever. But when I played it, I didn't want to go play Warhammer, right? And that was obviously released as a joint thing between, I want to say, Milton Bradley and Games Workshop, which I think Milton Bradley still owns the patent to Hero Quest, by the way. So I don't think we'll ever see a new Hero Quest, just because I doubt they're going to come off of that without a fight. But it didn't make me want to. It didn't end up transitioning me into Warhammer. It ended up transitioning me into D&D. Like 2 months after I bought Hero Quest, I went out and bought my D&D books, and then it took me many years to get around to Warhammer. So I think this one's interesting because it seems to me to be a much more clear ramp and on-road into playing Warhammer, into Age of Sigmar, into all of that, and into sort of the miniature wargaming in general, which I think is a good thing. I don't care what game you like the reality of whatever games that are out there, having an easily accessible board game like this that gets people collecting miniatures, thinking about this kind of thing, is a gateway into miniature wargaming. You may not love D&D, or whatever, but things that make you play D&D then go make you play other role-playing games, right? Like, most of the games that I've sold in my time, people didn't play my game first. They went to play D&D first and then branch out, and that's sort of natural. That's kind of and it's okay to have one person in the market that kind of acts as the spigot to let everything else in, and this helps smooth that entire line, keeps new members flowing into the community. So, there you go. Are you excited for Warhammer Quest? Are you going to pick it up? Do you like the figs? What are your favorite figs? What do you think of the previews of the new factions? Did you play original Warhammer Quest, Hero Quest? Do you think this will help get more people interested in Warhammer and miniature wargaming? Holy crap, there's so much you could talk about this week. I look forward to some awesome responses. And as always, they'll be posted down below. And we'll see you next time.